Hey, good morning, it's Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Wanted to quickly give you my advice, my personal advice on getting a mortgage and the type of lender you go through. I've blogged about it a few times in the past, but this past spring it's been a hot market. I've had a lot of offers, a lot of multiple offers on a lot of my listings. I've had several deals collapse. I've had a number of deals this spring go sideways that at the last minute we had to put together. And oftentimes, again, these are my personal opinions, but oftentimes the cause of this is because at the last minute, the buyer can't get his financing in order. And 9 times out of 10, in my experience, and all the ones I've had this spring that have gone sideways or almost collapsed, we're usually dealing with what I would call third and fourth tier lenders, trust companies, and credit unions. So my advice to people, if you've got good credit and you're not tied to one of these trust companies or credit unions through your union or something, go with one of the major banks. TD and Royal Bank, I think, are the top of the class, in my opinion. That's who I would recommend. BMO, Bank of Nova Scotia, they're okay as well, but TD and Royal Bank are my preferred lenders. And the reason I talk about this is this past spring I've had a number of deals that at the last minute, 2 days before subject removal, the buying realtor calls me and says, "Owen, we can't get financing." And you get a little more detail on it, and it's a conventional mortgage. They're putting down 20% on a $400,000 condo, which shouldn't be a problem. Now, when these things happen, I usually ask, well, who are they going through? Who's the lender? And usually it's a credit union or trust company or a third tier lender I've never heard of. And I usually ask, well, is there a reason why they're using one of these third tier lenders? And a lot of times it's not. These people are perfectly credit worthy. They've got good credit histories. But for whatever reason, they're going through one of these third tier lenders. Now, at that point, I'll offer them one of my people, either through TD or Royal, or an independent broker that I've got that can access everyone. Now, most of the time, my guy can end up getting these people the financing. We can save the deal. But I've also had a couple of deals this past spring. Same thing, they're using a credit company, a credit union or a trust company. Can't get the financing. I had one recently where trust company wouldn't lend the money because the house was too old. It was a 58-year-old house that we're essentially selling for lot value. Wouldn't put it through. Now, I offered to get them someone at Royal Bank or TD. They didn't want to follow through on it. They just took the trust company's word for it that the house was too old, which is crazy. They let a perfectly good deal die. Now, don't want to sound like I've got sour grapes for it. I'm going to sell the house anyways. I had several other interested parties and I was able to get a backup offer the day after the deal collapsed and sold it. But these people let a good house go because of just bad financing. And so my advice to people, if you can, go with one of the major lenders, because it's all about building a relationship. If you've got a checking account and you've got savings and you've got your credit cards with TD or Royal Bank or one of the major banks, I would take your mortgage out through them. That's what building a business relationship with one of the major lenders is the way to go, instead of shotgunning it with a bunch of different institutions. Because down the road you might buy the house, 10 years later you want to take a line of credit out to renovate the house so you can borrow against the equity. You may want to borrow against some of the equity and put some more money down and buy an investment property. And I find TD and Royal Bank are receptive to those kind of things in my experience, whereas some of these credit unions and trust companies and third tier lenders aren't very receptive to investing in real estate and pulling out equity and moving up the property ladder. So my advice here, keep it simple. I like Royal Bank and TD Bank. Those are my preferred banks of choice for getting your mortgage if you can. The other major banks are okay as well. The only time you want to be using one of these third tier lenders, in my opinion, is if you've got some bad credit history and the big banks won't look at you. In that case, I've got good independent mortgage brokers that can access everybody and try and get you the best rate, but it probably will be a higher rate than what the banks are going to get you because you've got poor credit. But that's the only time I'd be using these third tier lenders, if the big guys won't look at you. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.